America is Under Attack by Don Brown. A bright morning sun lit a cloudless blue sky. America started its day. Highways filled with traffic, railroads rumbled with trains, airports roared with jetliners. Among the hundreds of planes rising into the flawless blue sky were two from Boston, one from Newark, New Jersey, and one from Washington, D.C. Among their ordinary passengers were 19 deadly men. They were followers of Osama bin Laden, leader of an organization known as Al-Qaeda. The group hated America's power and influence. Bin Laden promised violence against America. The 19 men had pledged their lives to fulfill that threat. At 8 a.m. on September 11, 2001, they acted. With knives, pepper spray, and threats of bombs, they stormed the 4 airliner cockpits and wrestled control away from the pilots. The jets were no longer just ordinary planes. They were weapons. The planes banked away from their planned flight paths and headed for their targets. On one of the planes, a flight attendant managed to alert on-the-ground authorities to the hijacking. She reported, "Something is wrong. We are flying very, very low." Before them loomed the World Trade Center on the lower tip of New York's Manhattan Island. Each skyscraping tower was just over 1,350 feet tall and boasted 110 floors. More than 14,000 early bird workers had already arrived, a fraction of the 50,000 who worked there. At 8:46 a.m., the plane slammed into the North Tower. Flying at 450 miles per hour, the jet exploded through floors 93 to 99. The earth shook, debris and flames hurled from the opposite side of the building. Fire Chief Joseph Pfeiffer was out with a truck and his crew in Lower Manhattan when he heard the plane approach. He looked up and watched the jet smash into the tower. "Everyone, get into the rigs, because we're going down there," he said. Inside the tower, an inferno of jet fuel shot down 1,000 feet of elevator shaft into the lobby and lower levels. "I heard a roar," said Police Captain Anthony Whitaker, who had been standing his regular early morning watch at the base of the tower. "I saw a gigantic fireball. I turned and ran." The building suffered horrible damage. People on lower floors could escape down the stairs, but hundreds of others on higher floors were trapped by burning wreckage and ruined stairwells. Many used their cell phones to call for help. 3,000 calls were made to 911 emergency system in the 10 minutes after the crash. Overloaded circuits made connections difficult. Trapped people were told to wait for help. Chief Pfeiffer and his team marched into the North Tower and sent out the alarm for more firefighters. They and other rescue workers quickly arrived, sirens blaring. Emergency vehicles flooded Lower Manhattan. Within 17 minutes of the crash, 1,000 fire, police, and rescue workers swarmed the World Trade Center. Many were off duty. They simply reported to the scene when they heard the news. Among the rescue workers arriving at the North Tower was Chief Pfeiffer's brother Kevin, a lieutenant in the fire department. The two men shared a few moments together, then turned to their duties. The chief remained in the lobby to direct the arriving firefighters. His brother headed for the crash site. Two companies of firefighters were ordered up to the flaming wreckage 90 stories above. They entered a stairwell and began the 1,000-foot vertical climb. Each firefighter carried more than 80 pounds of equipment. Without elevators, it would take more than an hour to reach the impact site. We started up from the ground floor. We would take it 10 floors at a time and catch our breath, said a fire captain. This way, we would have some energy to do whatever we were going to do when we got to the upper floors. The fire department's plan wasn't to fight the fire. Firefighting systems in the building were probably damaged and impossible to operate. So we determined early on that this was going to be strictly a rescue mission. We were going to get people out, and then we were going to get out, said a fire chief. The fire department ordered everyone out of the building. A total tower evacuation had never been attempted before. It had never been practiced, nor even been planned. No one had imagined a catastrophe that would require it. Meanwhile, Captain Whitaker, the police captain who earlier dodged a fireball in the tower lobby, ordered a full evacuation of the World Trade Center, the collection of buildings that was home to the Twin Towers. Poor communications and a damaged public address system made it nearly impossible to broadcast the evacuation order. People in the buildings continued to receive mixed messages from emergency operators, sometimes to stay put, other times leave immediately. Some people left, others departed and returned. In the North Tower, the fire department even had trouble contacting their firefighters as they climbed the stairs to the impact zone. Their handheld radios barely operated. Making and receiving orders was a hit or miss. High on the 88th floor, Frank DeMartini, the building's construction manager, hadn't heard anything from the rescue operations based in the lobby. He didn't even know about the plane crash. He thought someone had planted a bomb, or that there was a mechanical room explosion. His office was wrecked. The ceiling had collapsed, flames licked the walls, and smoke filled the room. Dazed people stumbled about. He surveyed the ruins, gathered a team, and went to work. First, DeMartini discovered an open stairway and sent more than 25 people who had been trapped. Among them was his 89-year-old coworker, Mo Lipson. My heart was pumping harder than usual, Mo said. DeMartini, along with coworker Pablo Ortiz and others, made their way up to the 89th floor. They found more people trapped by debris and freed them, sending the rescued people down the stairwell. DeMartini and Ortiz continued up toward an unknowable chaos, looking for more trapped survivors. Floors at the crash site were a tangle of burning wreckage. Smoke billowed across lower Manhattan. On the floors above the burning rubble, hundreds of people were trapped. Using phones and email, in voices sometimes calm and other times frantic, they sent the same message. We're stuck. Send help. Police helicopters flew close. People were hanging out of the building gasping for air, said a helicopter crew member. There was no way of getting near anyone in a window. We were helpless, totally helpless. Heavy smoke and intense heat from the fire made rescuing people from the roof impossible. Some of the trapped people jumped. Suddenly, a helicopter pilot shouted, "There's a second plane."